everybody. Welcome to the Hopewell Rocks. Welcome to the Dominion of Canada's 150th birthday party. The Dominion of Canada was born on July 1st, 1867. Later in our show, you'll meet the Brunswick man who named our country. Beautiful Alberta County is just a small part of New Brunswick, and New Brunswick is just a small part of Canada. But we are proud of the big part we played in the creation of our country, Canada. So we hope you enjoyed meeting the people of this place and learning a little bit of our history.
Plusieurs cultures se sont mélangées pour former notre identité canadienne. Durant le début de l'histoire du comté d'Albert, 4 personnages avec leur nationalité distincte ont contribué de faire de notre comté ce que nous sommes aujourd'hui.
Places, like people, cannot survive on beauty alone. Places, like people, must have character and tradition to help them weather the test of time. Oh, pretty face never hurts, does it, Madame Blanchard?
Men.
We could get by with our Acadian forests, that incredible brown river that runs both ways, our rich marshland, and the spectacular red rocks that surround us. But these gifts of nature, they're only the foundation on which the people of Alberta County have played their part for over 300 years.
Le plus important du comté d'Albert sont les gens. Plusieurs sont venus comme les colons qui étaient déterminés à offrir des milliards à leur famille à le souhait de leur front.
The first permanent European settlement in North America was found on the Bay of Fundy in 1604. And ever since, people have been coming to Alberta County. But for unfortunately as long, people have been leaving as well.
Certains diront que ce soit un bon endroit. Dire d'où on vient.
We take heart in knowing that we have changed the world by exploring the wealth of character, which is woven into every Alberta County family name.
L'histoire de cet endroit commence avec les gens de Première Nation, le Mi'kmaq, dans leur langue que veut dire mon ami.
The Mi'kmaq have lived here for over 13,000 years. Before the Europeans arrived, the Mi'kmaq were part of a democratic-elected confederacy which governed all of eastern Canada and the states of Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. The people of this vast First Nation had preserved without blemish the gift that they had been given by the Creator.
Après 13 000 ans de retirer le bioensemble dans la terre, ils n'ont laissé aucune trace de leur passage ici, autre que leur sagesse et leur compétence qu'ils ont appris de là.
The way they lived their lives allowed them to make use of the golden rule of creation. Waste not, want not.
There. Almost exactly back to where we were last summer.
But not exactly where we were last year. The Acadian people have come from the other side of the Bay of Fundy to live among us. Their new cabin has taken place where our wigwam was last summer.
We only had to move a few paces to make room for the Acadians' cabin.
And when we arrive next year, there will be more cabins and we'll be forced to move again.
Then we will move again. Moving's no big thing for us. We're like the turtle. Takes his house with him wherever he goes.
And that is the wisdom of our way of life. If firewood becomes scarce and animals and fish become too few, we know it is time to move from one place to another. If we are careful not to break the circle of life, the Creator will have more time to renew the damage we have done and make it ready for others. How do your Acadian friends move their big cabins when they have won out their welcome with the Creator?
We live by our laws, and they live by their laws. They don't honor the spirit of the trees by waiting for deadfalls and gathering branches. They cut trees down to build big houses. And they cut down more trees to build big fires to keep their big houses warm. If they take all the fish from one stream, then they go out into the river where there's many fish from many streams.
But can they not see the error in their ways? Respecting the right of every living thing to have its own place in the circle of life has allowed Mi'kmaq to live in this balanced paradise from time before time. Take only what you need and praise the spirits that bless us with their sacrifice, and do not break the circle of life that joins and strengthens all living things. We live by these laws, not for the Creator's sake, but for our benefit.
Yes. But the Acadians' gifts of steel tools and axes have made our lives much easier.
And without our gifts to them, they could not live in this place. Maple syrup and marsh greens nourish them. They like toboggan so much, they stole the name and the idea. In our tongue, moccasin means my shoes. They stole the shoes right off our feet without so much as a thank you. In return, they give us bad smells, loud noises, and horrible sicknesses our medicine cannot cure.
Yes. But their gifts of bright cloth and shiny buttons have made our clothing more beautiful.
You men are like fish. Show you something shiny, you drift from a comfortable life, and you lean into a place where life is impossible. Would you really consider trading your snowshoes and canoe for a prettier woman?
Well, maybe the Acadian God is more powerful than our Creator. Maybe his laws are stronger than those of our ancestors.
And maybe porcupines think they can fly, but they still land on the ground when they fall out of trees. We break the Creator's law by gathering more furs than we need to trade for steel tools. Steel tools gives us more time to gather more furs. Getting more to have more is greed chasing envy. The race between these two devils leads to misery and war. Finding the rhythm in natural law, living in harmony by owning nothing but sharing everything, leads to contentment and peace.
You are wise in the ways of nature.
My peaked hat is a symbol of my wisdom. I'm a woman, the creator of life, and I draw my wisdom to the greatest creator of all, Mother Earth. She was made from the spirit of woman.
But the Acadians are here with us now. And even the Creator can't force them back across the ocean.
In his own time, the creator will deal with those who break nature's law. Take even one more salmon than the circle of life can replace, and one day, no salmon will return to our rivers. Take more than we need, and one day, even if it takes them 400 years, Mother Earth will feel the anguish of the greed.
But the Acadians are here with us now. Would you rather share our land with the English?
In time, I may accept the Acadians as a part of our universe, one of our relations at Nogama, but the English live in their own universe when they insist on being gods over Earth, sky, and all living things. Such false gods are difficult to serve and impossible to live with.
Our new neighbors have seen us.
Bonjour, bonjour. Oh, un nouveau bébé, votre première? Nous n'avons pas encore de bébé. Je m'appelle Marie Blanchard et voici ma mari, Olivia d'Aigle. J'ai du bon pain qui sort du fourneau de poisson que nous va attraper ce matin. Il y a tellement d'oiseaux ici. J'ai un prix en quelques minutes. Nous allons donner aux cochons et aux poulets. Nous sommes de Port-Royal, tu sais. Nous avons vécu pendant presque 100 ans. Les vieux nous racontent des histoires de connaissances et d'abondance par là. Il n'y a pas qu'une maintenant. Maintenant, on doit donner des gaspelots, des épalons, nos animaux. What a sweet baby. Soon, by the grace, our children will come. Will our families grow up together?
Our son will grow in our ways.
Well, come. Look at the cooking pots and dishes we have. I'm cooking cabbage and shad for supper. C'est bon, oui?
Bonjour, mon ami. My father-in-law, William Blanchard, has claimed this land, the Saguenay de Petitcodiac. Where we stand right now is Ville de Blanchard. You could help us cut down the trees and dike the marshes. We'll give you your own grant of land and teach you to be a farmer.
When I looked out my wigwam this morning, I saw all the land for our use. Now you offer me one small piece of it if I forget what the Creator's taught me and do what you teach me instead. Was I better off this morning or this afternoon?
Yes, but this morning has ended. The way you have lived is ending. This afternoon is the way things are now. Soon all the land by the river will belong to someone else. Come stay with us and build yourself a safe place in this new world.
The Creator has given us many places to live. We'll never lose them all.
As you choose. But you are always welcome to be my neighbor and my friend forever and always.
For the people of Acadia, forever and always lasted from 1604 until the summer of 1755. This is when the British captured Fort Beauséjour. During the summer that followed, the British led New England raiding parties, fanned out along the Bay of Fundy, and captured one Acadian village after another. Faced with no resistance, the raiders burned the villages and sent the villagers away into exile. But when they came to Ville de Blanchard on September 3rd, 1755, the surprise was on them. The Acadians and their friends, the Mi'kmaq, had prepared a counterattack and sent the raiders away downriver. However, their fleeting victory was mixed with sorrow.
With your help, we gave the British a bloody nose. But they will win in the end. They have burned my house and they have ruined my crops. And now we have no choice but to flee north with the other Acadians who are not captured and expelled.
You've been a true friend. Just as you said many years ago, my wigwam has found a welcoming place next to your cabin each summer.
Bonjour, mon ami. Yeah.
Wait. There's another way. We're going now to our winter village deep in the forest. Come with us. You'll be safe there, and perhaps with time, reason will return to this place. we may live here once again. At no point in time has reason ever traveled quickly. Here in the mid-1700s, reason traveled at a snail's pace. After the Acadians had been expelled, their land remained silent and empty for 11 years. More than 300,000 acres where Moncton now stands, and where we're standing, was mostly given to a group of Philadelphia businessmen. This group was able to attract a German immigrant couple. Heinrich and Regina Steeves arrived in their new Hillsborough home in 1767 and founded the village. They also founded the uniquely Canadian family name of Steeves. The Steeves family has reached from Hillsborough to around the globe and now features over 300,000 names in its genealogy. We believe the scene may have looked and sounded something like this when Heinrich and Regina arrived in their new Hillsborough home in 1767.
My house will be in this very spot, high in the hilltops, just like all those kings and queens in the castles left behind us in Germany. How many years ago, Regina, did we sail down the River Rhine on our way to Pennsylvania? Do you remember how we marveled at the castle walls and turrets swung up from almost every hilltop? And did you ever doubt that I would one day be in such a place as this? A place we can build our own castle?
You've brought me into this place, Heinrich. And our 7 sons who were born in Pennsylvania along with us. But you failed. We failed to bring our daughter Christina safely across the ocean.
You will never forget our wee Christina, will you? There was nothing I could do. All of the young ones aboard that ship died. It was the risk we took in coming to this new world.
Our daughter did not know the risk. She paid the price.
You can never let her go. Christina will live on in your heart forever.
Fathers are free to forget their failures and race off into the future. Blessed mothers are always left to wonder what might have been if only the lives of their babies had been made different.
But our future's out there. Just look at the beauty of Hillsborough. I have laid paradise at your feet. Hundreds of acres of forest, with trees so big it takes both of us to hug one. And where the trees end, mile after mile in flat fertile marshland stretching out to the river. And the river, our river, brings us its bounty of fish twice each day. The Acadian people have taught us how to dike and drain the marsh. You may have the finest hayfield the world has ever seen. Mark my words. A year from now, there'll be cows grazing out there. They'll be our cows. My oxen will be plowing the clay marsh to repair it for my crops. I have brought my family to the promised land.
Heinrich Steeves! What's getting your mouth is running out of your brain? That is the same speech you gave us when we came to Moncton. Come to think of it, I remember those exact words coming out of your mouth when we arrived in Pennsylvania from Germany 20 years ago.
Are you saying that Germantown, Pennsylvania was not good to us? All 7 of our sons are born there. There was just no land left that we could afford. And as I've said 1,000 times, a man as poor does not own his own land. We just outgrew that place, Germantown. And Pennsylvania, for that matter. As for Moncton, the shame may blame for that wretched place and not rest with me. We must starved in Moncton because of Benjamin Franklin's deceitfulness. And now, as the 20 colonies away from English rule, I was the one that got us through last winter. Blame Franklin for the one who put us through, and thankful to me for our salvation.
Others helped us through Moncton. Remember our friend, Monsieur Bellevue?
Yes. I remember he had the good sense to take Mr. Bellevue's advice.
No, not Mr. Heinrich. Monsieur Bellevue. Pierre. Yes. Pierre Bellevue.
You're Pierre, as you call him, but he's a useful fellow to me. But I always had the feeling he was sneaking around behind my back.
And Pierre was not the only one to help us. All the families worked together that summer. The Lutz, Trites, Coppels, Jones, Summers, Rickers, and the...
Yes, but every team needs a leader. And of course, I.
And who made you king?
I was the obvious choice.
Why?
Because I have the most sons, of course.
Ha!
And in a land of heavy work, he who has the most sons rules. Not only do more sons do more work, but more sons makes for the family name I can throughout the generations. Having sons is the only way to go.
And I suppose our 7 sons were all you're doing.
Well...
You can drive your children to work, Heinrich, but that does not mean you rule their minds. Remember, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world.
The heavy work of making our homes here in Hillsborough will be divided equally among all of our hands. We have 7 grants of land for 7 sons. Do you see how lucky we are? We own from that marsh lake on the southern side of the village to this hilltop beneath us on the northern side. We own all of this, Regina. All of Hillsborough. We are rich.
In land and in your mind, we are rich. And yet we have no roof over our head, no food for our table.
Right now, we have very little. But we are rich in opportunity. Trust me this one more time, Regina, and I will reward you with more riches than your hands and your heart can hold.
I will trust you, Heinrich. But only because I have no other choice in the matter. We are here now in Hillsborough for good or ill. And only time will tell which will be our fate.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Dominion of Canada's very first birthday party. I'm William Henry Steeves, and I'm proud to be one of the 33 fathers of Canadian Confederation. Yesterday, we were British subjects living in 4 colonies: Ontario, Quebec, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. Today, we are Canadians. Though our future begins today, our history will echo down through the centuries. Exactly 100 years ago, Heinrich and Regina Steeves arrived on the shores of the Bay of Fundy. I am proud to be one of Heinrich and Regina's 387 great-grandchildren.
Being boastful does not become you as much as your Abercrombie modesty.
Should I not be proud of what we've accomplished?
The Mi'kmaq Nation belonged to a confederacy larger than your Canada, and the Mi'kmaq allowed women and men to vote. When will the men in your Canada start listening to the voices of women?
Mary, I listen to you constantly. Our strong central government ensures that no one province can destroy Confederation by seceding.
Your strong central government does not promise to care for its weakest citizens. Mi'kmaq medicine came from nature and was free to all. The Acadians cared for each other because having each other was all they had to depend on. But your Canada is every man for himself.
Mary, Canada isn't even a day old yet. Give it a chance. All of your hopes for this country will come true in the fullness of time.
Mark my words, 150 years won't change Canada unless you politicians change your minds about women.
Another group has contributed greatly to New Brunswick's history. The United Empire Loyalists fled the American Rebellion in 1776 and found refuge here. I'm proud to introduce 2 Loyalist descendants, Miss Alice Chipman and Sir Samuel Leonard Tilley. Sir Tilley is also a father of Confederation and the Premier of New Brunswick.
Thank you. We are close personal friends and have worked together in colonial politics for the past 26 years. And we have fought for New Brunswick's self-rule. And we have fought to free New Brunswick from the scourge of demon rum. Because of our strong belief in the temperance movement, our opponents call us the Rum Smasher Party. Though it is still far too easy to drink of strong spirits in New Brunswick, Confederation is us much closer to self-rule.
And how far would your temperance movement have gotten if most wives have a jawbone their husbands into voting for prohibition?
Yes, Mary, we all know that. My family chose the British Crown over Republican anarchy and fled Virginia in 1780. Most loyalists have nothing behind except for 2 sterling qualities: their Yankee spirit and the will to get things done. It's taken my family 80 years. But I stand before you today as free as my Tilley cousins living in Virginia, and I am proud to say not one drop of blood was shed to win my freedom. I was given the honor of naming our new country. Our Prime Minister, John A. Macdonald, had decided on the name the Kingdom of Canada, though I feared angering our American neighbors to the south. After all, Republicans might enjoy having a kingdom next door to them. I was reading my Bible and chanced upon Psalm 72:8, which states, "He shall have dominion from sea to sea, and from the river unto the ends of the earth." And from that piece of scripture, the name of the Dominion of Canada was born. It is my hope that one day the Dominion of Canada will stretch from sea to sea, from the Atlantic to the Pacific.
We have tried to tell you a little bit of New Brunswick's story. The Mi'kmaq Nation are still very much a part of our province. Maybe after 400 years, we are just beginning to realize the wisdom of respect for the balance of nature must be guiding light for us all.
And we Acadians haven't gone anywhere. Why should we? Albert County has been our home since 1700. 1/3 of New Brunswick's population is now Acadian, and that 1/3 is the most stylish, confident, and friendliest people you'll ever meet.
The German families that arrived here in 1766, the Lutz, Trites, Coppels, Jones, Rickers, Wardmans, Summers, and Steeves, are still contributing both provincially and federally. 3 members of our current legislative assembly are Steeves descendants, and the late Jack Layton, whose mother was Doris Steeves Layton, was given a posthumous service cross from Queen Elizabeth on March 17, 2017.
The Empire Loyalists are still front and center in New Brunswick. How important are we? Ask any one of us. We'll prepare time for a very long answer.
Now, to celebrate Canada's 150th birthday, we'd like you to please rise and remove your hats and join us in the singing of O Canada.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons command, with grasping heart tilipega, the symbol strong and from solid wide O Canada, we stand on your first law. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
I wonder if the cast would introduce themselves.
My name is Brooklyn Wilkins. I'm a grade 11 student at Caledonia Regional High School, and I've been acting for as long as I can remember.
My name is Rebecca Davidson. I'm also a grade 11 student at Caledonia Regional High School, and this is my first production.
I'm Nathan Smith. I'm a grade 12 student at Caledonia Regional High School, and theater is going to be my future occupation.
I'm Zachary Barter. I'm a graduate of Riverview High School, and I'm studying musical theater at the Randolph Academy of Performing Arts in Toronto.
Thanks again. Have a great day.